Welcome to the 502nd episode of the Jami Dulaney Plant-Based Wellness Podcast. My name is Jami Dulaney, and I'm your host. I'm a plant-based cardiologist and endurance athlete living in Southwest Florida. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and we're getting ready to have a happy, healthy, plant-based New Year. I thought it's only fitting on this last podcast of the year to talk about comebacks. Comebacks from injury, comebacks from grief, comebacks from perhaps nutritional slips. And part of that comeback for me has been a change in tradition. So this year we were fortunate enough to celebrate Christmas with Addie and Nathan and Cecilia and Caleb in Houston. And our Christmas looked a little different this year, and we started some new traditions that turned out to be, at the end of the day, some of the best Christmas traditions we've ever had. Over the years, I've tried to hang on my grandmother's tradition of cooking big meals and having family over and making Christmas cookies. And it's evolved over the years from being regular cookies to plant-based cookies or vegan cookies to more plant-based cookies, and then cutting back on scale. Our holiday parties have went from family to friends and again back to family. We did make Christmas cookies and it went off without a hitch. Addie, Caleb, and Cecilia and I made 3 batches of cookies on Christmas Eve under no timeline pressures, and it went much better, by the way. We made Grinch cookies with some matcha tea that made them green, a traditional vegan M&M cookie, and gingerbread men. We made just enough for the 4 of us to enjoy. Girlie did have a bite of a gingerbread guy. I think she might have had a toe. I think she approved. But we didn't make the boxes of cookies that I made in yesteryear, where we'd start and put them in tins and store them in cool places and have cookies left over and actually get indigestion from eating all those cookies. So we just made just enough to have a taste of tradition, but not to the point where we were just focused on eating cookies and getting addicted to eating cookies. We had our traditional stuffed shells that my mother started. We didn't have the cook-off with the Diva and I, but I made stuffed shells. Then we do that with a tofu, spinach, and a little bit of cashew filling, and a traditional marinara sauce. We have a Christmas Day dinner with lima beans, a seitan roast, and mashed potatoes and mushroom gravy. So the size of the meals have shrunk somewhat, the varieties have shrunk so much, but the pressure of doing all that cooking was gone this year, and we had just enough to enjoy it without being exhausted on Christmas Day. So it was much better. We actually got to enjoy Christmas Eve. Addie and Caleb had been training for a 1-mile fun run at 4. He did a 1350 mile, and we ran in costume. Michael and I ran in costume in reindeer onesies. We ran around the neighborhood, and Nathan was waiting at the finish line with Caleb's favorite music. So it was a fun time had by all, but no pressure. No pressure to get all these things done. Very nice and relaxed. We had a nice dinner, and Caleb topped the evening off with his little Christmas concert. He had 3 songs to sing for us and did a marvelous job. So it was a small family gathering, laid back, and just a wonderful time. Christmas Day as well. We went to NASA the night before Christmas Eve to see their lights and took a walk on the space shuttle and enjoyed all the festivities there. And we exchanged homemade gifts. I got some lovely Christmas decorations and a plaque commemorating my 500th episode. And I finished Caleb's quilt. Caleb loves silverback gorillas, and it was a tradition that my grandmother had of making quilts from scratch. And somehow it hit me this year that I wanted to make Caleb a quilt, and since we knew that he liked silverback gorillas, that was the theme. It was a bit of a challenge since I'd never touched a sewing machine in my life. The only thing that I've really sewn since I was 6 years old, sewing with my grandmother, has been sewing up incisions from pacemakers. A little bit different, but the sewing machine came in quite handy. My nurse Dawn said, "You're going to want to borrow this from me," and so she lent me her sewing machine. And with the aid of a few YouTube videos and a lot of learning on the job, I was able to finish the quilt in time to get it to Houston. The best thing that we've all decided about Christmas this year and every year is just being together. So that really sets the tone and is what it's all about for us, and we enjoyed it. So some of the traditions were new, some of the traditions we were managed to keep, some of the traditions we changed, but one tradition that we'll always have is that we'll try our best to always be together. So overall, I'd say we had a pretty good Christmas comeback, focusing on the new things and good memories and enjoying the goodness of the present moment. I would have to say in years past, hanging on to some of those traditions kind of put a lot more pressure on things to get all of those cookies done and all those presents and the cards and all the things that we think we're supposed to do for Christmas, but we can't quite get them accomplished. So all in all, I think actually it's a pretty good comeback. There are many people out there that have adopted a plant-based nutrition or trying to adopt plant-based nutrition in the holiday season. It becomes very overwhelming. And it can also be very frustrating and stressful because you want to keep the traditions of what you've always eaten and being around people that have those same traditions. The memories of all those cookies and candies that my grandmother used to make with all that saturated fat and sugar are wonderful, but it's also wonderful to feel good and not have diabetes or heart disease, and to be able to eat a meal that's healthy and be happy but not stuffed to the point where you can't get off the couch or consume things just to consume things without really paying attention to why you're consuming things. And the story can be a positive one. You didn't gain weight over Christmas. You felt good. You didn't get sick. You're healthy. You had energy to do other things. And perhaps try a new activity. I know some people were doing a jingle and jog for the first time. We did our 1 mile fun run. And I got to tell you, that 1 mile fun run was as good as any marathon. We were dressed in our reindeer onesies and we ran around the block and we had Christmas carols and Caleb's pump up music playing, and we celebrated like we won the Olympics. And that's really what it's all about, starting with a step and moving forward. We didn't have to drive anywhere. We ran from the front door. The finish line was the driveway. And the recovery time was essentially none. I'm still working on my physical comeback from the long haul 100 last year, January 18th. We're coming up on it soon. Almost there, but not quite. We did a 50K attempt December 23rd, more as a training run to see what we could do. We had to get up early and drive about an hour and a half. When I say early, we had to get up about 3 o'clock in the morning after being exhausted from the week before. So we went on little sleep, not that great of nutrition or enough nutrition the night before, and got to a race start and did our best. But we actually pulled the plug at about mile 23 and kind of came on suddenly that decided to just throw in the towel. It was about 38 degrees at the start, so we had practice at wearing clothing that we might wear in that kind of condition for the race. So I had shorts on, added a heavier layered top over a short sleeve shirt, ended up peeling that off in about 45 minutes. Ran in a different kind of terrain. This was mainly a state park that had mowed fields, so you were kind of like the Merrill Lynch moose running through the maze, but we were running through mazes of tall weeds that a path was cut, and it was somewhat uneven back and forth, and there were some open areas, but it was very, very pretty and beautiful, especially as the sun was coming up. we ran in some areas of sugar sand, and there were a little bit of hills. And when I say hills, I mean we're talking just kind of bumps in the terrain, so to speak. But it was uneven surface, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles of sugar sand that's like running on the beach. That gave my ankle a bit of a workout. So and it was set for 4 laps. We completed 3. Just felt like if we'd have done more than 4, if we'd have went on that 4th lap, I had a chance at kind of re-injuring my ankle a little bit in the sugar sand. I kind of went to that race to be out in the open and do a day out in the sunshine, without the phone ringing, without anything else to do but run, and kind of clear my head a little bit from the pressure of the holiday season. And I believe that was accomplished because there was nothing else to think about but running when you're out running in the weeds in the woods. We met awful lot of nice people. The race directors were very, very nice. Got a good day's running in, so we quit about 2:30 in the afternoon. So after a drive back, we got home before dark. So that was good because we had to pack the next day. So it was enough stress, and it was enough stress reliever to get the job done, but not too much that we couldn't recover easily on Sunday and Monday and enjoy the week with the family. And that's really what it was all about. So we got to try on new terrain, try some cold weather gear. I got to assess where we went wrong as far as, probably not enough nutrition. Got to look a little bit about pacing strategy. So still on the comeback from the ankle injury. It was still a little bit sore, bothered me a little bit when the terrain is really uneven. But I think it was good training because unless you stress something, you can't really make it stronger. So stress to the point where you have some discomfort, but not to the point where you're injured. And it's kind of a fine line, and I'm still figuring it out, but I feel confident that I'm ready to try it at a further distance at long haul and see where we are. It didn't take long for my mental attitude to catch up with my ankle when I started to put together that I was tired and all that narrative that I just went through. Could I have changed it? Yeah, I think we could have changed it, stopping a little bit, getting some fuel, stretching, and went on for another loop. But I do believe that Michael and I talked about it enough and decided we had accomplished what we went there for. Yeah, it'd have been nice to finish the race, but again, we came home feeling good about what we had done, the pace that we had kept before we stopped. But it was also a really good example of how quickly negative thoughts can build up together to give you a narrative or give you a reason for not doing something. And so if you're struggling in a comeback, you got to really watch what are your goals and don't allow those negative thoughts to start to build together to become a narrative of why you shouldn't become plant-based or why you shouldn't do your rehab or why you shouldn't go and exercise or do the strength training. So knowing your why before you start something or an activity is very, very important. Going out to a holiday party and really getting to a bunch of things that you shouldn't really be eating can lead to more and more. I know over the years when we've made Christmas cookies, you get such a desire for that sugar rush that, why don't we make more of these? Why don't we have these all the time? Why do we just have them at Christmas? That narrative can creep in. That's why I thought it was so good that we just made these little batches of rather, nice size cookies so that we could have a taste but not overdo it. I think it's really important to get back into the groove once you've had some of that holiday junk food, to get back into the greens and the vegetables and quickly get that shifted before your gut microbe actually makes the shift and all those cravings start to become overwhelming. I know some people in my practice have had some setbacks over the years that are even worse than mine, broken bones, And, if you go to the hospital, especially in Florida where there's some older people, or really no matter where you are, and you get a broken bone, you shouldn't be doing this. You got to be really careful. I better not do this activity anymore because I could break something, or it was a near miss that I could break something. I'm not mobile enough. Maybe I'm not doing the right thing. You can get all these terrible narratives in your head when, the price of moving and being active is the price of potentially getting hurt, whether it's running a race or playing with your grandkids or, decorating for the holidays. Things happen. But the idea is, how do you make the comeback? And I think that's where a positive mental attitude and certainly plant-based nutrition, we see people heal so much faster because their body's not inflamed. They come back from injuries so much quicker. Bones heal completely because they know how to get in the proper nutrition, and they get past that, something bad happened. Now what do we do to make it even stronger and better, and get on with the rehab and start to keep track of what you can do today that you couldn't do yesterday, and how do you become more mobile. And perhaps it's a wake-up call to see what needs to be addressed as far as, are there other mobility things that you can be doing to keep active? I know just over the holidays, besides our 1 mile fun run, there was a couple of days we didn't do really that much, and my ankle wasn't better because we didn't do anything. My low back was not better because we didn't do anything, and actually more stiff because we didn't do things. And you kind of have to take the opportunity when you have it to be mobile. So I think sometimes we tell ourselves that we need to rest and we need to not do things, but just the opposite is true. There was actually a study, a very, very tiny study, where, and it was actually a person that did a self-reported, experimental study of one, where it took 8 to 10 weeks off of training. Had been a triathlete, over 50. And he didn't do anything and watched his VO2 max drop about 8%, which is about like a 15-year decline over that short period of time, which can be very scary. I think when we have setbacks at a more senior age, it becomes more scary. Will we ever get back? Because everybody's always saying, you decline with age, you lose muscle mass with age, you lose bone mass with age, you get slower with age. On and on and on. And while some of that may be true, some of that is just the narrative that comes with not doing anything. So he actually trained not only to get back his VO2 max, but he improved it by 4%. So he got back to better than he was before after that prolonged break of doing nothing. And I think that, again, a lot of the narrative of we lose, decline, is because the norm is to not do the things and to become more sedentary and not try things and to be fearful instead of actually doing things. We all love a comeback story. It's a happy ending. And there's no reason why you can't experience the happy ending in the comeback yourself. And what happens to other people need not be what happens to you, because you don't know exactly what they did that may or may not have resulted in an outcome that you don't really want for yourself. As Caleb would say, I have to practice my running. I want to get faster. And anything that we do, we have to practice and make an effort to get better. Not only does your body have the opportunity to get stronger than before, your mind also does with practicing the mindset. So catching yourself in the negative narrative and turning it around is just like a meditative practice. Meditation is not it's not as much as being able to sit and breathe and not have any thoughts come into your mind, but to be able to sit and have thoughts come in and go and not grab you and take you away. So just noticing when you're meditating that your mind is wandering and bringing it back is a growth in mind in meditation. And just noticing when the negative thoughts are starting to creep in and grabbing a hold and changing the narrative is a growth in mindset. And all of it needs to be trained. We have to practice. Even just to sit there and breathe, we have to practice. So enjoying the process is perhaps what it's all about when it comes down to comebacks. You can't make planned strong food that other people are going to like unless you like it yourself, happy with it, and practice cooking it so it does turn out well. That seitan roast that we cook for Christmas, it's a no-fail roast, but it's because I make it on a regular basis. If you've made sourdough bread, you know you need to make it on a regular basis to know how each of the steps should come along. Same thing with that quilt. You know, I learned as I went. Some things became easier as I went along, and I learned as I went. Now I want to make more quilts because I don't want to lose that skill set. And it's good for your mind. It's good for your mind to be challenged. What are your goals for your physical comeback? Are you training just to phone it in and say, I did my strength training? Or are you training in a mind to see that you can lift heavier things and with better form or more repetitions? Are you training for a 5K to improve your time? Can you walk a mile in a certain time? So many people, and maybe people got smartwatches for Christmas, and they never look at the abundant amount of data that those things can give you that can actually be self-motivating. And I'm not talking about the one that says just get up and move, but I'm talking about how many steps did you do in a day? What was your time on your mile? People don't even look at that. That's so important. How fast can you walk your mile? What was different from day to day? Most people walk a similar route or do a similar exercise. How long did it take you? What were the weights that you used? Have I changed it all? I keep a calendar I've talked about multiple times, but I can pull the calendars from year to year and see what I was doing. Sometimes I think I'm doing more than I was. Sometimes I'm not doing as much as I thought I was. But at least I know I have hard facts that show me my progress and where I'd like to make changes. The traditions we had were good. The ones that we're adopting are great. Stepping into the light, there's always more good than bad. And we need to focus on that and make sure that when you make the list, you list more good than bad. It's easy if you just give it a try. If you're about to make some changes in the new year, start simple and document it. Perhaps having a plant-based breakfast, perhaps taking meat out, taking eggs out, taking dairy out, maybe just adding more fruits and vegetables and taking less processed sugar out. Eliminating junk food, stay away from the chip aisle. Erecting some hard no's in your life. Don't eat gas station food. I see so many people coming out of gas stations with sugary drinks and food. It's probably 500 calories a day for people that come out of gas food. Just make that one go away right away. Making more of your own food, making all of your own food. Changing perhaps from canned food to frozen food. At least changing from canned food to organic canned food. Organic cans don't have BPA, which is a carcinogen. And it is a very toxic carcinogen. Estrogen promoter of sorts. So make a point. BPA-free can. It's going to help your health right then and there without changing a calorie. Change your cookware. You know, if your cutting board is plastic and has knife marks, get rid of it. If your skillets and pots have marks in it, get rid of it. Those are carcinogens that are going to leak out. Easy things that you can do. Sign up for a fun run. Sign up for a run every month. There was a guy that I heard on a podcast that when he started running, he made a plan, and he's done it for years and years and years, that he has one race a month. It can be anything from a 5K to a 100-mile race, but he races one race a month is his rule. So make some rules. Embracing new traditions could be the difference in a great comeback or not so great comeback. My next race is the Long Haul 100, and I'm going to put everything I have into completing the Long Haul 100. No, I don't want to get injured because my A race of the year would be the Leadville 100. But I don't even know that's I'm signed up for it, but who knows what can happen between now and then. What I do know is the long haul is January the 18th, and that's what my focus is going to be on. You don't have to wait to January 1st to do a comeback. You can start today. We love a good comeback story. We'd like to help you with yours. You can go over to drdulaney.com, DOCTORDULANEY, and find out how you can join our practice and we can help you with your comeback, whether it be nutritional, physical, mindset. We're there for you and in it for you. We love a good story. I will be starting the once monthly live streams beginning January the 3rd at noon. Patron members will get invitations to the live stream where they can submit questions and or I'll submit my own questions. We'll see how it goes, but we'll do about 30 minutes and hopefully we can have some good interactions. Thank you always for listening. Can't wait to hear about your story. Don't hesitate to email me, Jami at drdulaney.com. Love to hear from you. Love to hear your story. Again, check out our website to find out how you can be part of our membership program. Thanks always for listening, and happy, healthy, plant strong New Year.